Okay.
All right.
Awesome. Okay. Well, it looks like so far just ladies, but I am very excited, and today is going to be kind of a little bit of a, not get to know you, but kind of digging in a little bit and looking at where we are, what we want to do, those kinds of things. We'll go over some kind of expectations and all of that stuff too, so that we kind of know what to expect and how things are going to work. So to get started, I know that you guys who are here all know me, but I want to, make sure that everyone kind of knows who I am and why I'm doing what I'm doing. So, for anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Corey Perez, and basically I am a real estate broker in Washington State and a real estate coach, as I know you guys know. I've had a lot of issues over the years with anxiety and PTSD and stuff like that. And that has kind of been what drew me to figuring out a different way to generate leads, to do my business differently. I needed something that would, I guess, really work for me and not make me feel more anxious and more kind of out of sorts, right? So anyway, so that's kind of who I am and why I do what I do. As far as helping agents, honestly, I really feel that there's a lack in some areas of helping agents really figure out what to do to get leads, to build their businesses, to do that sort of thing. And so that's what we're going to be doing in the group sessions as well as the one-on-one. So with that said, I want each of you to come on and introduce yourself. I would like you to say, who you are, where you're from, and how long you've been in the business. Okay? So since I can see Caitlin, I'll have Caitlin start.
I'm Caitlin. I actually am in the suburbs of Tampa, here in sunny Florida. And I have been an agent for just over 5 years. It was 5 years in February, so I'm almost 5.5 years.
Yay. All right. Who wants to go next? Okay, I'll let Eva go next then. Eva, we're just introducing ourselves, our name, where we're from, and how long we've been in the business.
Okay, hi. Yes, it's actually Eva, but that's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're good. I am in the DFW area in Texas. So DFW, Dallas, Fort Worth, and surrounding areas. And I've been in just a little over a year since last year.
Awesome. Okay. How about you, Nicole?
Good morning. I'm Nicole Cameron. I actually yesterday was 1 year.
Yay.
And I'm in Northern California, in the East Bay generally.
Okay. Awesome. All right, Christy, your turn. Oh, you're muted. Oh, there you go. Never mind. Sorry.
I live in Virginia, and I'm a brand new agent, less than 6 months.
Love it. Love it. All right, Jonathan, you're in, and so now it's your turn. Sorry, you might be a little surprised, right? But guess what? It's your turn. I just want you to introduce yourself, tell us where you're from and how long you've been in real estate.
Sure. I'm Jonathan Behrens. Nice to meet you all. I am currently in the St. Petersburg, Florida area, more commonly known as Tampa Bay. And I passed my test, I think, in September. So I'm brand new, and I'm with Compass.
Love it. Love it. All right, guys. So I have a couple of questions. Some are silly, some, are just kind of icebreakers, that sort of thing. I want us to just kind of get to know each other a little bit. And like I said, some are icebreaker questions. So whoever wants to go first, I'm going to have all of you guys answer. Okay. Now, my daughter loved this question. So, it's like I said, it's kind of silly. All right. if you had to eat a crayon, what color would it be? Go ahead, unmute.
I think I would eat probably purple. Just kind of for the fact that it's my favorite color. And I mean, you know, not to get too TMI, but like when you poop it out or whatever, it'd be just a weird color.
I love it. I love it. Okay. Who's next?
I'll go. The color that came to mind was red, but then I was like, well, maybe tan or black. So I don't know, but I'd imagine they're all tasting the same.
Right.
But the bowel movement, Caitlin, that's got me thinking now.
Oh my gosh. All right.
I'll say yellow.
All right. Sounds good. I imagine, like, the funny thing is when I did this, I'm thinking and I'm like going, why would I choose a color? And I'm like, it would be what it would taste like, right? But then what would it taste like? Ew. All right, Eva, how about you?
I would say probably red for that same reason, because Jolly Ranchers and all the candies always taste the best in flavor being
Right.
red. So that's what I would say.
Right. All right, Christy, what about you?
I would just do green because it's my favorite color.
That's my favorite color too. I feel like I would probably be somewhere between green and red also. All right, guys. Like I said, that was just kind of for fun and to get us loosened up a little bit and everything. Okay, my next question is, what is the worst piece of advice you have ever gotten?
Hmm.
For me, I'm gonna say I would say it had to have been in business, and it was literally when people started telling me that, I mean, for me personally, right, that people started telling me that I needed to cold call and that's how I was going to get business. that was a no-go, but that was probably the worst thing that anyone could tell me, because for me, I guess I kind of made myself wrong for not doing it. And that wasn't really a very pleasant feeling. All right, anyone else?
I guess I tune out like the bad advice. I don't know. I naturally program the good advice.
Love it. Love it. All right. All right. Anyone else got anything?
I would say the same for me. I mean, everyone has said, oh, you've got to door knock and do all these calls and set a time to do several hours of calling every day. And I have not done that. I'm just, that's not me. That's why I loved your Facebook group and what you're doing, because I think we're in sync as far as how we feel about that, because I'm just like not a very outgoing person, never have been. I do have to say in the last year that has kind of changed for me. I mean, I've become a lot less shy and a lot more out there, but for me to just go up and door knock, I did do it once in my neighborhood, and I actually had my daughter go up to the houses and pass out the door knocker things that I had gotten. Not one single lead from it. I was just like, this is not for me. So anyway.
All right. All right. Okay, guys. Anyone else? Nicole, Caitlin, Jonathan?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
No worries. No worries. Okay.
Can you just repeat the question for me, please?
Yeah. What was the worst piece of advice you have been given?
Really, it's just to like make those calls and not having like the script to go with it. Like my thing was like, just go call these people. And it's like, what do I say? What do I do? Like, why? And it was just such an unnatural thing for me.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I think the same thing, like that. That freaks me out. And that's why I linked up with Corey, because I don't want to do that. And Yeah, so basically that, but probably something else someone once told me, so I don't know if this is true or not, but they said that there's no such thing as multitasking. And I'm like, wait, right? I don't think that's possible because I multitask all the time, but it's probably not on 100% on all angles. But so I was like, that's probably not the best advice I've been given.
Right, right. Yeah, I guess I would think on that and kind of think the same, like, okay, well, I can certainly do it, but maybe what they meant, like maybe the message behind that is if you're doing a lot of things, you can't be doing everything well. Maybe, I don't know. Okay. All right. So my next question was really kind of what made you sign up, but I think that we are all kind of on the same page about that. It's kind of I'm not planning on cold calling. I'm not planning on door knocking, and quite frankly, I want to do things differently. Okay. Okay. And then my final question will be for all of you guys, and that one is, what are you guys hoping to achieve in the 6 months together, that is?
Just really learning how to generate more leads in a way that works for me.
Love it.
Exactly, finding out like our own little niche and then keeping the momentum going.
Love it. Okay.
Yeah, same thing. And I would like to sell 10 homes by the end of the year. So that's high on my radar.
Love it. Love it. All right. What about you, Nicole?
It's the same, I think.
Okay.
Just wanting to learn how to generate more leads, especially in this market.
Absolutely. It's definitely been crazy. I mean, I know that some of you and I have talked about, like I've lost some deals and stuff recently, and it always hurts, but then at the same time, sometimes it's okay, right? Like I encouraged one buyer to walk away from a house, and he kind of said to me, well, Corey, what about your commission? And I was like, you're not buying this house so that I get paid. Like, that's not why we're doing this here. So I'm sure it's not the best business move, obviously, to talk people out of a house, but at the same time, it's not a good business move to encourage them to buy something that isn't for them,
No, they'll stick with you if you have integrity.
Exactly. And so that's kind of what, it's a very big thing for me, integrity and ethics and all the things, it's about what you're doing when no one's watching, right? And how you act and the things you do. So, okay. Eva, I had one last question, and that is, what are you hoping to achieve in our time together?
I would say to learn how you do this reverse prospecting so that I can actually get viable leads that will convert, whether it be buyers or sellers. And talking about integrity, I think I mentioned to you before, I have a client that has been looking for this specific property that is just really a needle in a haystack. And he had his mind set on this one property, and it is just what he wanted to put an offer in on it was just like so ridiculously low. And I'm like trying to explain to him, I finally, with our conversation that we had at the end of April, he basically put all of his efforts on hold because he's realized that what he wants, they really truly can't afford right now.
Mm.
And so, yeah, I could have pushed it, but really it wouldn't have made any sense because the offer he wanted to put on it there was no way they were going to accept it because I'd been in touch with the listing agent. So I basically lost out on being able to put his house on, list his house, and then help him with buying another one. But it's just, we both feel like it's just not the right time. So, I mean, it all comes down to the integrity of it. It's just like, we got to keep looking. So
Right. Right. Well, that's one thing that, I mean, in this business, I feel is very, very important is, our ethics, our integrity, all the
Yeah.
things that we bring to the table. And
Mhm.
that is one thing that I just like in my business, I never waver on, right? I
Mhm.
mean, the other day a seller told me I could leave the house unlocked. He was just going around the corner and he would be
Yeah.
back, by the time I was done showing the house. Man, I kicked myself for probably half an hour going like I should have just opened the key box and locked the door. Like I knew he had a key. I didn't get in trouble, or anything like that. Cause I mean he told me I could, but it felt
Yeah.
so wrong.
Right. Yeah.
And
I get
so
that.
it's just kind of a matter of being sure that you're doing the best you can.
Hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
okay, well, so I have, today is, like I said, kind of a little bit of a get to know you, kind of a thing. And I want you guys to kind of understand what we're going to be doing, kind of how we're going to be working, all of that. So some of you, we didn't do a one-on-one call about this. So I want to kind of explain a little bit, what we're doing. So basically this program is going to be it's kind of a hybrid program. It is one-on-one coaching for 6 months, and then it is also the group coaching aspect for 6 months. The one-on-one will be weekly, the group coaching will be bi-weekly, and kind of what I'm envisioning is with the group coaching aspect, we're going to be helping one another, sharing ideas and kind of bouncing ideas off of each other. We all have, different areas that we're really good at. And so I want to encourage everyone, if you have something and you're like, oh my gosh, like I know Christy is amazing at being organized and coming up with stuff like, so I'm like, okay, she might be able to help us with kind of getting organized if, we're feeling a little scattered. Caitlin is amazing at YouTube and she has so much that she can offer as far as helping us with that. There's so much that we can bring in, and different perspectives and all of that. And so I want basically all of us to show up as we are here today, on camera and just participating. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be sending a scheduling link. If we haven't already scheduled our first call, we're going to schedule that. I'll send an email with a scheduling link for our one-on-one sessions. I am going to send a contract just basically so that everyone has, kind of a clear understanding. One of the things that I ask is that with the scheduling of appointments, and if you have to change an appointment, that you give me 24 hours notice, basically, so that I can plan my day one way or the other, so I don't think that that's, crazy or anything. I will be sending a questionnaire as well, and it's very simple, but basically just kind of getting an idea, where you are, that sort of thing in your business, that sort of thing. With the one-on-one piece, we will, and also through group coaching, we will work some on mindset. I know that there are some mindset issues that we run into a lot, in real estate, and we talk to ourselves. Some of us may overthink a little bit, right? Some of us may, and that would be me. Some of us kind of get in our heads and get in our own way. And that's one thing that we'll kind of be addressing as we go along too. I don't want us to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm stuck, or this thing that Corey's suggesting I do like scares me and I don't know that I want to move forward, or, whatever it is, we'll work through it. Another aspect of this is also the DMs. Basically I want all of you guys to reach out to me at any point that you're like stuck or feeling kind of unsure or, you know, anything like that. Sorry, my Zoom just zoomed away. Okay, here we are again. Anyway, and so there will be accountability. You know, I have a tracking sheet that I'm going to send out that someone in the group kind of sent me a copy of at one point, and I'm like, I love this, and so I created one of my own. Anyway, and so thank you, Christy. I created one of my own using kind of an idea that she had as far as a tracking sheet, so I love that. So what we're going to do is we're going to track basically how many people we're talking to, the leads that we're getting, those kinds of things, so that we know where they're coming from, so that we can focus more energy and effort in those areas. For me, and I know that you guys know this, I focus most of basically all of my attention on social media. And then, you know, the referrals that I get, obviously I help them, you know, that sort of thing. But the majority of the people that I bring in is through Facebook, really pretty much exclusively. So that's where most of my attention is. And so we can take the things that we're doing or that I'm doing on Facebook and in other places, you know, as they come up, and we can change those and make them, you know, adapt them for other platforms as well, like Caitlin, you know, for YouTube and that sort of thing. We will be looking at your why, you know, why you're in real estate, why you're doing what you're doing, and honestly, kind of a little bit of what you're expecting, I guess. And honestly, one of our assignments will be to write a letter to, whether that be yourself or a loved one, but basically to say, this is what I'm doing, this is why I'm doing it, and essentially, you know, this is what my plan is. We're also going to write one that's kind of an apology letter that is like, I'm sorry I didn't get there, you know, I'm that kind of a thing, just so that in 6 months we can look at that and go, ew, okay, yeah, no, we didn't do that, right? Like that felt icky. we're not going down that road. But that will be kind of, we'll get started with that later. So sorry, my daughter's in New York and she's in a group chat with the family. And so if you guys hear dinging, I'm so sorry. I don't know how to shut it off on my computer, but she's messaging. She's so excited to be seeing the big city. So last night she was crying about seeing the big city. So, you know, I'm happy to see she's doing better today. Okay, so we kind of covered what to do if you're stuck, but basically I want you guys to reach out to me in the DMs. If you're, I mean, really anything. If it is like, okay, Corey, I did the thing you told me and I don't know what to do from here, you know, reach out to me and we'll work through it. We'll walk through it. We'll get you to the other side. You know, if there's also the Facebook group, and you can definitely post in there as well. And then everyone, oh my gosh, I need to figure out how to turn this off. Let me see if that works. Okay. Anyhow, so yep, it kind of went away. Oh, yes, you can ask in the Facebook group so that everyone may be, people may have a different idea or something like that that may help some other advice as well. Another thing is confidentiality. Like, I do want the things that we talk about in the group to kind of stay in the group. I want people to feel safe and like they can talk about their thing, whatever that is, and feel confident knowing that, we're all here for each other and, that sort of thing, but not to like, I don't know, go post anonymously in another group, because that's a huge thing right now, right? About griping about this, that, or the other, right? So anyway, so that's kind of what I have as far as like, what to expect, that sort of thing. What questions do you guys have at this point? And is that all good with you guys? Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, so basically, as far as what we're going to be doing, I plan to start on our one-on-one calls, basically to kind of dive in. We could do more today in kind of talking about, so that we can kind of get an idea from everyone. Who is your ideal client would be one thing that, I would love to hear about. And, kind of what drives you, what is it that about that ideal client that you feel like you connect with, maybe? And I'll let you guys unmute to tell me.
I'll go first. We are a military family and we're in a military area as well. So definitely I have a heart for military. I have a heart for first-time home buyers because as of last year, I was still teaching. So I'm a former teacher. So I like to educate. And I feel like there's a lot of first-time home buyers out there that are just hesitant because they don't have the education that they need.
I agree. Love it.
Mine is dog lovers and people who are involved with rescue. Just because, I'm a dog lover myself. I've got one dog, I've got 2 kitties, and we've got a snake. So we're just animal people. And that's just something I've always really been drawn to. Like, I did pet sitting when I was growing up and everything. I still do pet sitting. So it's just like a fiber of my being.
I love that. Awesome. Who's next?
I would say for me, I've also kind of drawn to the first time home buyers, and not really that I was really seeking that out, but it seems that all of the leads that I've been getting since I started real estate has mostly been either people that are just looking to lease a property or have no idea how to even go about becoming a first time or becoming a homeowner.
Mhm.
So I found myself having to educate a lot of them on what to do. And a lot of them were like so appreciative on all the information I've given to them because they had actually absolutely no idea how to even start. So there's that.
I love that. I feel like that's where so many people, like, that's the holdup, right? Like, they have no idea. And so many more people, I feel, if they knew just the specifics, right? Just the minimum, they would probably feel so much more comfortable to take that step forward. All right, Nicole, what about you?
Well, when you first said, what's your ideal client? My ideal client is pre-approved.
I love it.
So many times they're not.
Right.
So first that, and also helping them get on track to get there, to get their pre-approval. Because I generally don't start helping people look unless they tell me that they're pre-approved or that they're willing to start the process.
And that makes sense. And oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, otherwise we're just spinning this.
Ex-
In addition to that, first time home buyers are great. Um, I like to chit chat with people who really have no idea what it takes to get into a home. So I think that's it.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. I want to say one thing, which is I love that okay, first of all, I think we're all on the same page. And if I haven't told you this, I'm sure you already know this, but basically anyone who works with me, I don't really want you showing houses if they're not pre-approved, right? Like, I don't want us wasting our time and spinning our wheels and doing all of those things. But saying that, I also feel like we can reach these people before they get to that point and really help them. And when we can be the ones to educate them, they tend to be more loyal and more kind of willing to, loyal. Yeah. They tend to be more loyal because basically you are the one educating them and helping them move forward.
One of the things I wanted to tell Ava, I forgot where you're located. Where are you located, Ava?
Sorry, DFW in Texas.
Okay. So here in California, we're in a huge rental lease market. It's because of the rates and stuff. And I have been able to make, it's not much, but some income off of finding those leases or rentals for people who just aren't ready. So
Yeah, I've been doing that. I'm actually in the middle of doing one right now that is a nightmare because there's going to be like roommate situation going on. And it's over by TCU. So I haven't had one like that before. And luckily, the listing agent is another one of our agents within my brokerage. So she's been super helpful and telling me I'm doing a great job, even though I feel like I'm like all over the place and it's a lot to do. But
yeah. So
I've done a few, but yes, thank you for that.
sure. Earlier when you guys were talking about the cold calling parts, I don't struggle so much with the cold calling because I work both sides of our brokerage. I work the property management side and the real estate side. And the cold calling for property management has made it so much easier to contact people on the sales side because it's practice to talk to people about.
Oh yeah. That's actually a great idea.
Easier, right? You're not trying to really sell them something. They're looking for something.
Yeah.
So it's easier and it gets your name to them in doing that, right? So
right.
I do work on the sales side as well.
Do you make a lot of money off of that, off of rentals?
So every listing is different. The listing will put it into the MLS as to what you're gonna earn. I generally earn between $200 and $500 per lease. But you know, I mean, if it pays one of the bills.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, like,
I'm only seeing like $50 in Florida is what you get.
oh,
It's
no,
like
no, no.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's
like my
really low.
teammates have said, like just send them to Airbnb because it's not worth your time for
Wow.
$50.
Right.
Well,
So,
I can't see your MLS, but
right.
Here
Here, it says
operating-
usually, it's like you said, it depends on on what they negotiated, but it'll say either 25% of first month rent or occasionally 50%.
So here it's usually a dollar figure. I think I've seen maybe one. And I've been doing the property management side of things long before I was licensed. Just because I was helping in our brokerage office. And it generally is a flat fee. And it's usually between $250 and $500, I would say.
Here it can vary. Sometimes it's a set amount. But typically it's like 25 to 50% of the first month's rent. But it just varies from property to property. So
Yeah. But I imagine your rent there is much lower than it is here, right?
It's gone up in this last year, but compared to California, I'm sure so.
Yeah, I know, we're crazy.
That's why everyone's moving here from there.
Honestly.
All right. Oh, sorry. All right, Jonathan, how about you?
I know we've talked about this query and I keep saying first time home buyers because I don't know much, but I would know more than they know. So I feel a little bit more comfortable about that, but I keep running into these opportunity zones in Florida. And I don't really know much about them. I know that if you stay there for I think 5 years, you don't have to pay capital gains. So I think it's almost like a niche that could be really tapped into because there's a lot in Florida, but still like the majority of everyone else first time home buyers.
Okay. Okay. And I know that we have talked about this some, so I know, but I just want everyone to be kind of together, right? So, okay. So with some of those things being said, what would you guys say? And I know we've kind of talked about some of this already, but what would you guys say, let's say with like first time home buyers, and what would you say you have run into as being kind of their biggest hang up, their biggest issue?
For me, it's absolutely interest rates. They think as they saw 2% last year that it's coming back, and it's just simply not.
Right, right,
External, and I've had to explain about how years ago these current interest rates were considered fantastic,
right,
but the home prices were far less.
right, right. Absolutely. Yeah. I kind of always say when I hear someone say that, I'm like, those were kind of unicorn pricing. Like the interest rates were kind of unicorn rates. Like we're not going to see that again. I don't anticipate seeing that again. Okay. Anyone else have anything? All right. So for me, what I always run into when it comes to first time home buyers, and I know some of you and I have talked about this before, but the things that they really seem to struggle with, the people who aren't pre-approved yet, that sort of thing, that are maybe a little farther out, they seem to be struggling with, they just don't think they can do it. You ask them questions and they say things like, oh, my credit stinks or sucks or whatever, but they don't understand what is possible for them. They don't understand what the minimum credit scores are. They don't understand, I mean, some people say, you have to have 20% down, right? And we know that that's not the case, but not everyone knows that that's not the case. So talking about those things is it's a very quick way to kind of educate people and have them kind of have that light bulb moment, like, oh, this might be possible for me. With say renters and that sort of thing, they already, what is it, first month, last month deposit, like they already have some money saved up. It may be very easy for them to find something. I mean, okay, maybe not in California, maybe not as much, but it may be easier for them to find something to buy, or equally easy, depending on their situation. They just may not know that it's possible for them. One of the things that kind of keeps coming to my brain is we deal a lot with perception, and that is kind of the thing. Like everyone has this perception of what it is to get into real estate, right? It's hard. It's, it's not an easy process to buy your first home. It's scary. It's stressful. It's all these things, which not to say that it isn't scary and stressful and those things, but it's not as hard as people expect. And so us showing them how easy it can be, you know, like even creating like a little Canva image or something, you know, I've done them in the past where it's like kind of shows the steps in the home buying process, and I'm sure you guys have seen them online too, right? But kind of giving them that information. One of my most favorite posts has been basic, I mean, super basic. And it was essentially what I said was, you know, that the minimum credit score was a 580, that you needed to have 2 years of job history, of full-time job history. And basically that with that, you could potentially buy a house. Now, with a 620 credit score on FHA, you can get down payment assistance. So, you know, even bumping that up to a 620 and saying, okay, you know, at a 620, you can get down payment assistance, and maybe depending on your market, we could get the seller to pay closing costs. Like looking at those things, it just makes it more possible for some people, you know what I mean? And it kind of opens their eyes a little bit. And that's what we want. We want to open their eyes and make them go, oh, this could be possible for me. Jonathan?
So I really like all that, but like, how do we know that, or where do we find that, or like, right? I know the internet, but like, how do you know if it's credible or if it's factual or any of that stuff?
Well, one thing that we're going to do is we're going to talk to a couple lenders and get that information from the lenders, exactly what they can do. You know, most of them are going to have similar things. Some have different overlays, like credit unions and stuff in my area. Some of them are like a 640. Some of them are 620, but some are 640. Like you have to be at a better place in order to get like a credit union type loan. So it would definitely be a matter of talking to a lender and kind of getting that information from them. And one thing that I would say is that, you know, I've definitely had lenders in the past who told me that I didn't need to know what the minimum credit score was, which I kind of laughed at them and said, okay, well, you won't be getting my business. Like, you know, if you're not willing to share the information with me, like, how do I know you're going to help my client? You know what I mean? To the best of your ability, I guess. If I can't help them, like, see that you're an option, I don't know. So anyhow, so one post that I used to do, and back in the day, I would take this post and I would go and post in the buy sell trade groups, and I would say something along the lines of, you know, I found a lender that can do this credit score, you know, fill in the blank, basically, right? Fill in the blank with the credit score the lender gives you. But I found a lender that can go to a 580 credit score, and here's what you need, you know, being the job history and, you know, maybe 3.5% down. Or if you're talking about the down payment assistance, then, you know, fill that in and say, basically, with this credit score, you can even qualify for down payment assistance. It's a very simple post, but it gets a lot of action. When I used to post it in my buy sell trade groups, like in the very beginning, when I started doing that, literally every single time I had over 100 people, and that was terrible. So it is terrible to have 100 people talking to you all at once, trying to get information. So I'm happy that it doesn't work like that anymore, because I swear to you, it was exhausting talking to that many people and kind of trying to handle that many people. So, you know, just the way that I look at things now is kind of like, what would be the first thing that you would do if someone came to you right now? If you had a line out your door of 20 people, what would you say to them, and how would you start to talk to them and get them this information? And kind of what kind of system do you have in place? We can always create that, and that will be kind of one of the things that we'll work on. But basically, what would you do? And so for me, the first thing that I feel like I would do is I would ask them, and this is what I always do. I always ask them whereabouts their credit score is. And I say that because, as we know, there's 3 credit scores, right? So if they have a general idea, even if it's from Credit Karma, which isn't ideal, but if they have that, I'm happy to take that number and kind of, then I have a ballpark, right? Like if they're telling me, well, my credit score is a 650, I'm I'm happy. We can go buy a house. Let's go. But if they're telling me, hey, my credit score just sucks and I don't have any credit and this sort of thing, like, that you need to ask more questions at that point. Ask more questions, dig in a little bit, because I've had people I don't have any credit, and literally they filed bankruptcy like 10 years ago. There's nothing on their credit. They haven't done anything since. And I'm like, okay, your credit's not horrible. You just literally need to rebuild it at this point, And so there's so much education, and people think that they know, they just have this perception of this is what it is and this is how I'm stuck, basically. All right, guys, what do you feel right now? How are you feeling? Like, what would you like to have as your takeaway for today?
Well, this may not help anyone else, but I have an open house this weekend. So kind of like conversation starters.
Okay.
I don't want to just pounce on them.
Well, for me, I always am like, I just kind of act like a tour guide, right? Like I ask them first, basically, to sign in, that the owner has requested that everyone sign in. So I have them sign in. With that information, then you'll kind of know, as we've talked about, with kind of the sign-in sheet and everything, you'll kind of know where they are, right? If they have a realtor, that sort of thing. So you can always talk to them a little bit about that, ask questions, that sort of thing. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. My wheels are turning. My company uses KV Core and they have an open house app. So I don't know how it quite works. I don't know if I'll be able to see it as they enter stuff or if I'll see it later.
Okay, that I don't know. So Caitlin is the KV Core user that I defer to normally. So, but she had to run. But okay, so if anything, you can always ask them straight up, have you been working with a realtor, that sort of thing. You can ask them who that is so that you can reach out to them even, and, do kind of a follow-up, check-in sort of thing. I don't like, I don't know. I don't normally, like, I just have authentic conversations with people, right? I don't try to push anything, like I don't try to sell them, like that sort of thing. I feel like I'm a tour guide, and that's kind of how I look at it. I just feel the energy in the room, right? Like if they're sitting there, like, and that they just, because you get the sense, right? Like, that they just don't want to be bothered, just want to go look at the house. Like, that's fine, but I would still participate, show them around, that sort of thing. If it's an occupied house, I wouldn't just leave anyone in an occupied house, like just off on their own, you know?
But if you have a lot of
for
traffic
safety,
coming-
Yeah, I was gonna say, you have a lot of traffic. I know my broker, I think, stands near the front door.
You
Um,
can definitely do that. If there's a lot of people, and I don't know if you're going to have a second person with you or not, it is a good idea. I know we've talked about that a little bit. So, it is a good idea to have someone else with you, just, I mean, one, for safety, you know, just because. But, definitely I have let people go when it is, you know, several people coming through at one time, that sort of thing. I try not to, though, you know, just because I feel responsible. So, you know, you definitely can if you're busy, that sort of thing. But if not, if it's one couple at a time, that sort of thing, then, you know, I would definitely
or if
act-
you're by yourself,
exactly.
let them go on.
And maybe, you know, well, because this is someone else's listing, I'm assuming, right? Is it
Mhm.
occupied or?
I think it is. Yeah, it's furnished, but yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah. So just kind of play it by ear, you know, and kind of see what happens. But honestly, just go into it being you. And I know you're going to be fine. Like, you don't, I don't know, like some people do like have scripts and stuff like that. Honestly, that is the hardest thing for me. I would rather be authentic and be in the moment and have that conversation with them.
Me
You
too.
know,
I think I would flub up a script. I'm much more natural.
yeah. I think you're gonna be fine. Don't overthink it. Just go in. You've
Oh,
got
I do.
this.
Unfortunately, I do.
I know, but you've got this. All right. What other questions do you guys have right now?
Can you give us any tidbits on the actual reverse prospecting?
Absolutely. What would you, we're going to dive in really, you know, this coming week, and we're going to really dive in with everything because I want to kind of set you up for getting going, you know, like I can give you some posts, that sort of thing, to go and post, but at the same time I feel like you kind of need to understand the mechanics behind it a little bit as well. So what we can do, like, okay, so yesterday, Nicole, you had a great post that you were working on, and so that is kind of the most important thing, like what we were talking about, having a call to action, you know, giving them something. Like, you want to be offering something. It's always about what's in it for them. So you want something that they can reach out to you and say, oh, I want that thing, right? Whatever that thing is, whether that's a piece of information, whether that's, you know, I mean, really a lot of times it's information and education, you know, but like for you kind of reaching out and doing the post you were doing yesterday, offering a CMA, you know, is a good thing. But sometimes, like I said yesterday, with a CMA, a lot of people don't actually know what a CMA is. So you may offer that, but the general public isn't like, oh yeah, I need a CMA, right? Like, they don't know that. So you need to speak in their language. You know, you need to change it up and make it so they can see the value in it.
I have another question.
Okay, go ahead.
You posted that thing about everything's for sale.
Absolutely.
So a bunch of people commented. I shared it, and I don't even know what to say to them. So what is the verbiage that you would reply to them in the private message?
at that point, once they've responded, so there's two things. One is there's the people who, like on mine, everyone is like $1 million, $1 million, $1 million, right? But most of the people on mine are real estate agents. So
Right.
when you look at mine, it's like, okay, guys, whatever. You're probably not getting that for your house and you already know it, right? Like, but on anyone else's, what I would expect is that some people, yes, may be a little high, that sort of thing. But if they're saying it, what I would do is probably one, look up their property because I would be super curious. Look up their property on RPR. And, if you don't know where they live, you can search it on RPR by their name. And basically, I would look at that, kind of get an idea. RPR gives kind of an automated value. And so kind of look and see how far off they are just based on that. It generally gives a range. So you can be like, oh, well, I could definitely see, maybe I have a buyer, maybe I could find a buyer for you, that sort of thing. But what I would do is I would reach out and talk to them, and just say, hey, if I came across a buyer who was looking for something like your property, would you consider selling it?
Okay. But I feel like if somebody just looked up my property based on my name on Facebook, I would look at myself as a creeper. So how can I get,
Well, and
should I just ask them, if you'd like, I can give you the free market analysis?
Absolutely. So I wouldn't say necessarily I looked it up yet. Like I would look it up just to know. Like if someone is telling you it's $1 million and they don't live in California, I might question it a little bit, right? If they're telling you, like someone that had reposted my post, I saw on there that they were like 400,000, and in my mind, I don't even know what market they're in, but I'm like, okay, that one might be reasonable, so then kind of look at the ones that are reasonable, or, that sort of thing, and just kind of go from there and start a conversation with them. If I brought a buyer to you, would you be interested in selling? Those kinds of questions would be appropriate questions. And then you can always, kind of dig in a little bit from there, and even say, I would be more than happy to give you a market analysis. I would be more than happy to come out and tell you what your home is worth in today's market, is probably the way I'd say it.
Okay.
Is that helpful?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So one of the things is that post that I did is an example of reverse prospecting, right? Because it is bringing people in, like it's asking a question that kind of triggers them a little bit to respond. And anytime we can get someone to kind of respond and say, like, I want to talk about this, I want to talk about real estate, that's a good thing, right? Like, and then you can engage with them and kind of create a conversation, and kind of go from there. Not everyone is going to be like, oh yeah, I actually want to sell my house though.
And if they're not in your area, then you would just refer them out, right? Or
Absolutely.
do whatever.
Yeah. All right. What else do you guys got? We have about 2 minutes left, it looks like. I love it. You guys are all happy. Okay. Okay. So what I'm going to do before our next call is I'm going to kind of create well, first of all, I'm sending out all the things that I told you guys earlier. But then I'm also going to give you guys a few different questions and stuff that you can ask to kind of get responses, to kind of hear what your people are thinking, that sort of thing. And don't be afraid to ask questions. Like, ask some of the best ones are like, just getting them involved, right? Like, first of all, the algorithm on Facebook is kind of crazy. So the more people responding to your posts, the better, because then the more eyeballs are going to be on it, because Facebook is going, oh, this is a good post, or, you know, people are paying attention to her or him. So, you know, like, I like posts about, you know, what year did you buy your first house? What age were you when you bought your first house? What was the interest rate when you bought your first house? Some of those things, it kind of shows, like, it starts a conversation a little bit, you know, and like, let's say someone comes on and they're like, oh, I bought my house, it was 7% interest. Oh yeah, like that's crazy. That's where we are now. Or, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be like a lot, but some of the people, maybe they have a 2 or 3% interest rate. Maybe, you know, they're thinking, oh, well, I can't do anything right now because I have this great interest rate. Well, maybe they want to, like in Christie's area, maybe, oh, damn, the word just escaped me. Where they take over the loan. Anyone? Assume the loan. You know, maybe it would be something like that. So, you know, there are always options for people, you know, and so it's just kind of a matter of starting those conversations and getting people's eyeballs on you. Is that helpful? Awesome. All right, guys, before we get off, I would love to hear kind of what, if anything, you're taking away from today's call, and then, you know, what you're excited for.
I'll go. So it's basically the lending side. Like Nicole's like, they need to be pre-approved, but I can't grasp all of that yet. I don't know, like the credit score, I don't know any of that. So I'm looking forward to that, because there's I think another call tonight that Corey posted about with her other lender. So I'm really just trying to wrap my head around everything pre-approval and lending.
Love it. Love it. We're gonna have good stuff today. Awesome.
I too want to research a little bit more about the credit score limits and learn when I have time. Things have been a little crazy lately, but I've been getting a lot of referrals for rentals, but like someone said earlier, like sometimes their credit score and it can be hit or miss, and I'm trying to figure out how to use my time wisely and not, you know, I don't want to spend my time running around showing rentals for somebody that's going to get declined.
Exactly. And maybe asking them up front, if you know on rentals kind of what the standard is, you know, or like if there's a certain I mean, basically, I'm assuming there's I don't do rentals. There's not a lot of rentals. Like, we don't put them in my MLS or anything like that.
Depends. Like sometimes the agent will mark, like if you can find out if they'll tell you like their monthly income. Sometimes it'll say to qualify no more than 2 incomes, and 3 times they have to make 3 times like the monthly rent.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe if you kind of have that qualification and have that conversation up front, it might eliminate some unneeded running around.
Right.
Okay.
I just want to piggyback on that one of the things for Jonathan and Christy that I have done is I have had, if I find a lender that I'm happy to work with, they will create an affiliate link so that it looks like the two of you are a team, you at the lender and you as the realtor. And then you can send that link out to your prospects and be able to bring up the question. If you're not,
my lender that I'm working with right now, he's awesome. He's going to be in town, so he's going to the open house with me on Saturday.
Awesome.
And he's going to create a flyer too. And he's excited that the debt ceiling deal went through, because he said rates have kind of gone down, and hoping they'll keep going down a little bit.
Awesome. That's good news.
Good news for everybody.
Yes.
especially California.
Right. Okay. What about you, Eva?
The same thing as everyone else. Just get more information, more details about the steps that the first time home buyers need to be making. I kind of feel like I've already got the leasing side of it down as far as what they're looking for, and I know pretty much what to ask before I would even offer to start showing properties to anyone. I mean, I've had a lot that just have criminal background and no one will give you a shot. I just have to tell them, look, you may want to try Facebook Marketplace for an individual that's, renting a room that's not going to look at those things.
Right.
Or if you have someone in your family that might know of a place, because they will not budge on that. They just will not.
That makes sense.
But
Okay.
mainly for the reverse prospecting, I mean, I'm totally excited about that part and what exactly to do, where to post that, and what to post, and I just can't wait.
All right. All right. Well, I am very excited because we're going to dive in, and we're really going to, on our one-on-one calls, we'll really kind of dive in and kind of figure out what works best for you, what you feel comfortable with and all of that, so that we know kind of what direction to move forward in. Okay. All right, guys. Well, if you don't have any other questions for right now, we will hop off. I don't want to keep you guys. It's already been a few minutes past, so I don't want to keep you guys too long. But do you feel comfortable? Okay.
I'm getting there,
I was gonna
it just takes, every time you try something new, it just takes the guts just to do it and see how it goes.
Exactly. Well, we will definitely be getting, everything put together, all of the parts and pieces, and be ready to get you guys out in front of people. Nicole, keep posting things, keep sharing, make sure you have a call to action, something that they reach out to you for. Okay?
Yeah.
You're welcome. Okay, guys. Well, we will talk soon. I should have asked this earlier, but does this time work for you guys on a regular basis? So like if we said, okay, the Thursday, I know Christy, you may have meetings on.
Yeah, I may have meetings just because it's later. It's in the middle of the day now for me. And so it'll just depend. But that's okay. I can watch the recordings or I can talk to you when we do one-on-ones.
Okay. Well, I'll ask in the group and kind of get a general consensus when would work best, and and then we'll go from there. So that way we can hopefully get as many people, together at one time. So, okay. Well, sounds good, you guys. Have a wonderful day, and we will talk very, very soon.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.